The rain was pouring down the night my father threw my bags onto the wet pavement. He stood on the porch with his arms crossed and laughed directly in my face. He told me that a failure like me would be begging on the streets within a month. My mother stood behind him in silence and let it happen. I had $19 in my pocket and nowhere to sleep. 15 years later, I am the proud owner of 14 successful high-end restaurants across 3 major cities. I built an empire out of pure grit while they forgot I even existed. But yesterday, my phone rang and my mother was on the line. She did not ask how I was doing or offer an apology. She bluntly demanded 30% of my business profits, claiming they raised me so they deserved their fair share. When I was 19, I made the choice to drop out of community college to pursue my passion for culinary arts and restaurant management. My parents wanted me to study law. When I told them my decision, my father lost his temper completely. He called me useless and packed my things right there. They changed the locks that very night. I spent my first 2 weeks sleeping in my old sedan while working 18-hour shifts as a line cook and dishwasher. I saved every single penny I made. I worked through burns, exhaustion, and utter loneliness. I refused to let my father's prediction come true. Over the next 5 years, I worked my way up from line cook to head chef, and eventually saved enough money through private catering to open my first tiny diner. It was a massive success because of my unique menu and dedication. I reinvested every single profit into opening a second location, then a third. Within 15 years, I had built a network of 14 fine dining restaurants, employing over 300 people. I had achieved financial stability and peace of mind without a single dollar of help from my family. Then came the phone call that changed everything. My mother reached out after 15 long years of total silence. Her voice was cold and businesslike. She told me that my father was retiring and that they had been following my success on social media. She stated that, as my parents, they were entitled to 30% ownership of my entire restaurant group. When I asked her why she thought she was entitled to anything after abandoning me, she said that raising me was an investment, and now it was time for me to pay up. I arranged a meeting at my flagship restaurant to settle this in person. They showed up, dressed in expensive clothes, expecting a grand payout. My father sat down, arrogant as ever, and placed a contract in front of me to sign away my hard-earned equity. I looked him dead in the eye and reminded him of the exact words he said to me on the night he threw me out. I pulled out my own folder and handed them a legal notice instead. It was a formal cease and desist, alongside a permanent ban from all 14 of my establishments. My father's face turned bright red, and he started screaming that I was an ungrateful child. I calmly stood up, called my security team, and had them escorted off the premises in front of a full dining room. They thought they could walk back into my life and claim the fruits of my labor after leaving me with nothing. They learned the hard way that respect and family bonds are earned through love, not forced through entitlement. Building your own life from nothing teaches you the true value of your self-worth. Never let toxic people reclaim a seat at your table just because you survived the storm they created. Stand your ground, protect your success, and always remember who was there for you when you had nothing.